Hit it, Phil.
Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La, da, da, da.
Stay tuned.
Right after this episode.
For our discussion.
The Kraft Music Hall will not be presented tonight so that we may bring you the following special program.
Now, a special program in living color on NBC.
Jack Benny's New Look. Jack Benny's New Look. Starring Jack Benny. With guest stars George Burns, Nancy Sinatra, Gary Puckett, and the Union Gap. Eddie Rochester Anderson, and special guest star Gregory Peck. Brought to you by Kodak, for your Kodak dealer, who invite you to come in soon and see his wide selection of Kodak gifts for Christmas, where you'll find this special display of gifts that give happily ever after. Kodak.
This is the first Christmas you can give a Kodak Instamatic camera for less than $10. A Kodak Instamatic 44 camera that loads in seconds, uses flash cubes indoors, and takes pictures in black and white or color, even color slides. Give a Kodak Instamatic 44 camera less than $10. A good gift for anyone to give or receive. See your Kodak dealer.
Something? Well, thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who have just tuned in, I'm Jack Benny. The reason I say that is because lately so many people confuse me with Engelbert Humperdinck. Now, I do hope you enjoyed our very groovy opening that we had in the show, where I was, you know, like the hippie and everything. And that's called being with it, you see. I mean, if you want to bring home some heavy bread, you just gotta let it all hang out. How do you like them apples? Now, the title of our show tonight is The New Look. And this outfit I'm wearing is considered in. And underneath this, I have see-through underwear. See-through meaning I forgot to put them on. All I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is that I'm tickled to death that when I was a young man, I didn't throw these clothes away. I just knew they'd come back. Another thing, everyone said, Jack, with the modern look, why don't you let your hair grow? Well, I wish it would. I even put bandini on it. Now I can't get rid of the crabgrass. But you know something, ladies and gentlemen? The new look is not only clothes, it's no clothes. Everything now is nudity. The stage practically requires it. I was in New York last month. I saw a group of actors put on a revival of that lovely musical, Carousel, and they did it in the nude. When they sang, June is busting out all over, it was embarrassing. I'll tell you something else. I went to a movie in a drive-in theater. In a drive-in theater, talk about nudity. I don't know how they let those cars in. If the people only stayed in the cars. But running out for those pizzas, I caught such a cold. And another thing, while I was in New York, I saw a new show called, you've probably heard of this, Oh, Calcutta. You've heard of Oh, Calcutta, for which I had to pay $50 a ticket. And I want to tell you something, the nudity I saw on that show, well, I couldn't believe my eyes. So I went back again the next night. Paid another $50 and still couldn't believe my eyes. I'm going to see it until I either believe my eyes or go broke. Now, getting back to the new look, I would like to explain the kind of a show that we're going to do.
Pardon me?
Because I think that George Burns. George.
This is the first time I ever got applause just making my way to a seat. Thank you very much.
Please,
This
George.
is not only my entrance, but my finish.
Please, George. Please, now will you listen?
Look, Jack, I've been talking to you for 48 years. I'd like to talk to somebody else for a change. How
But
are
what?
you? Are you? Is the show good? We're on television. That's Jack Benny. Would you like to wave to him? Wave to him. Jack, wave to him.
George, what are you doing out in the audience?
Well, I don't want to go home. Too early to go home. I want to see the show.
See, Your Honor.
But your producer said that you cut me out.
Not you, George. I just cut out your lousy song.
How do you like that, a lousy song? He's talking about one of my big hits. I'll be waiting for you, Bill, when you come back from San Juan Hill. He calls that a lousy song. It'll tear your heart out. At the finish, I cry like a baby.
I heard that song, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you for crying. Besides, we have Nancy Sinatra on the show. She's singing on the show.
Look, Jack, don't worry. My singing hasn't hurt a father, and I'm certainly not going to hurt that kid.
Gregory Peck is with us in the show. And the show is long. Somebody had to be cut.
And you feel the audience would rather see Gregory Peck than see me?
Well, of course.
Well, I got news for you. The audience would rather see Gregory Peck than see you. If he was smart, he'd let Peck do the whole show and sit out here with us.
All right, all right, all right.
Look, if you want to cut the show, why don't you cut out one of those all rights?
Look, I wanted to let you sing. It'd be impossible. You haven't even rehearsed with the orchestra.
I don't need an orchestra. That's for Tony Bennett and Tom Jones. They need all that help, not me. I don't want an orchestra. I want to hear my voice. I love it.
You mean you're going to sing without music?
All I need is the audience. Look, would you ladies and gentlemen help me out with a song?
Yeah, okay. Please, no. No, cut it out. Look.
Bum, 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 but do that. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, now hold it. Say, have you ever been away? Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Do that. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, George,
now,
for
stop. Bum, 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 bum. Say, have you ever been away? Bum, 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 bum. Say, have you ever been away? Bum, 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 bum. Forget it. Let's do the chorus. There's no land. Sing it. As Grant. Look, at least sway. There's no. Can I tell you something? This is the last time I'll ever work with you.
She's our little girl, and each and every moment with her happens only once. That's why we have a movie camera, a Kodak Instamatic movie camera, so we can remember each and every moment. Christmas is almost here, and a Kodak Instamatic movie camera will make a perfect gift. You hold it like this, open it up, and drop in the film. Now, in case you're thinking movies are going to be expensive, well, they're not. A whole roll will cost you less than a dozen snapshots, and this camera is less than $30.
Is there someone in your family who should be in movies? There's a Kodak Instamatic movie camera that's just right for you at your Kodak dealers. The gifts that give happily ever after.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce my next guest. A young lady I've known ever since she was a little baby. Now, when she first started to talk, she called me Uncle Jack. And she still calls me that today. And you want to know something? Every time she says Uncle Jack, a tear comes to my eyes. Of course, when I found out what I had to pay her for this show, the tears increased and a snarl appeared on my lips. But this is the first time we have actually worked together, and I'm very happy to present Miss Nancy Sinatra.
Out of the tree of life, I just picked me a plum. You came along and everything started to hum. Still, it's a real good bet, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the warm-up's underway. Wait till our lips have met. Wait till you see that sunshine day. You ain't seen nothing yet. The best is yet to come, babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come, come the day you're mine.
Nancy, before you do your encore, I must tell you that song was lovely.
Oh, thanks, Uncle Jack.
You see? You see, I told him. You always call me Uncle Jack.
Oh, I couldn't call you anything else.
No.
You know, before I came on, I was sitting backstage watching the show.
You were? Exciting, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Gregory Peck walked right by me 3 times.
No. Gee, he only passed me twice. But you know, Nancy, it seems like yesterday that I used to come to your house and see you and your brother Frankie and your sister Tina, and you were such cute little kids. I used to be at your house about once a week. Remember those days?
I sure do. Tell me, do you still take those babysitting jobs?
Well, only by referral. I don't advertise anymore. But I used to get such a kick out of you kids.
Do you remember every Sunday when you came to the house, you used to put a dime in my piggy bank?
That's right.
And do you remember the time you put a quarter in and you got your finger stuck when you were trying to make the change?
Oh, yes, yes. It was so embarrassing when the fire department came. But tell me something, Nancy. You know, so many of the young singers today, they come and they go. But your dad, Frank Sinatra, he's been right there at the top of the heap for 30 years. How do you account for that?
Clean living.
Yeah, I guess it paid off for Dean Martin, too.
Uncle Jack, may I ask you a question now?
What?
When do I get to meet Gregory Peck?
When I do. Now, look, you got another number to do, just go ahead and do it. She and her Gregory Peck. When did he ever babysit for her? Oh, mister.
Yeah?
You're selling cameras here?
No, I'm Santa Claus. Would you like to sit on my lap?
Look, I'm interested in a nice Christmas gift.
Well, don't look at me. I'm not buying you anything.
Look, just tell me about that camera over there.
Oh, this makes a wonderful gift. It's the Kodak Instamatic camera. Takes great black and white or color pictures, even color slides. And when you're indoors, you just pop on this little flash cube. But the best part is the drop-in loading. You just drop in the cartridge, and you're ready to shoot.
Well, I meant that next one over there, that other one. I don't want this one. It's the other one.
Yeah, I know. But I was so convincing, I'm going to buy it myself.
Look, just tell me about that other camera, will you, right there?
Well, before I go through it all, are you sure you're interested?
Well, of course.
Oh, I hope so. I can't afford to buy another one.
Another one?
Yesterday, I bought 12.
All right.
And I wasn't even pushing.
Okay. I'll take it.
Oh, not until I tell you about it. Oh, now this is the Kodak Instamatic movie camera. It's so compact with this handy fold-out pistol grip. And it, too, has the drop-in loading. You just drop in the cartridge, and you're ready to shoot. And it actually costs less than $30.
Gee, that seems like a perfect gift. I'll take it.
While I'm rolling, you'll just love this versatile 7-speed movie projector by Kodak. You can show your movies in fast, normal, or slow motion, in forward or reverse. And, of course, it threads automatically. Your grubby hands can't mess up the film.
All right, I'll take that, too.
Good! Now for the building. 18 floors, underground.
You know, of course, ladies and gentlemen, that Gregory Peck is on my show tonight. Imagine his first appearance on TV and on my show, and I'm thrilled about it. I want to tell you I haven't been this excited since Alexander Graham Bell said, "Can you hear me, Jack?" Now, I must admit, I was almost afraid to ask Mr. Peck to be with us because, in the first place, Gregory Peck never goes on TV. He makes movies. He's chairman of the Motion Picture and Television Relief Fund. He's president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And in the second place, I was afraid the money he would ask would be out of the question. No, I think that would be in the first place. Anyway, even though I didn't think I had a chance, I went over to his house to ask him to be on my show.
Yes.
I'm Jack Benny. Mr. Peck is expecting me.
Oh, yes, Mr. Benny. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
I'm Mr. Peck's secretary. I'll tell him you're here.
Thank you very much. Who's this fella here?
Oh, he's Williams, the butler.
Oh.
Excuse me, please.
Oh, I see. You?
Can I get you anything, sir?
Well, it's a little early for dinner.
I meant to drink.
Oh, to drink? No.
Martini?
No, thank you.
Scotch?
No.
A glass of milk?
Milk? Yes, with a dash of nutmeg. Gregory Peck, Best Actor, To Kill a Mockingbird. Geez, I don't remember that one. I gotta watch more television. Wonderful to see you. I was just looking at this, Greg. This is pretty nice. I didn't know you had one of these, too.
Oh, well, do you have one, Jack?
No, but I was at Rod Steiger's house, and he has one.
Well, Jack, come over here and sit down. I'm sorry I kept you waiting. That
It's all right.
phone just won't stop ringing.
Pretty busy, huh?
Oh, there just aren't enough hours. You know, meetings, picture deals, and the new campaign for the Motion Picture and Television Relief Fund. And scripts to read. Would you believe it, Jack, if I told you that I was happier when I was an usher at the Radio City Music Hall?
No, I wouldn't believe it.
Well, neither would I. Well, Jack, what's on your mind?
Well, Greg, now look at you and I. We've been friends for years.
We have?
Yes, and I was wondering if you would like to make...
Oh, there goes the phone, Jack. Excuse me. Hello. Oh, hello, Darryl. Yes, I did read the script. Well, it's a very interesting part, and the screenplay is great, but I'm afraid I'll have to pass this one up, Darryl. Oh, yes, I know you're offering me a lot of money and 25% of the gross, but I just can't do it. Oh, but Darryl, the part isn't really for me. It should be played by a man in his late 60s or middle 70s. Yes, and also, Darryl, in order to make the part believable, he should have a background of experience in the theater and in humor. Yes, I think so. Yes, Darryl. Yes, I believe so. Yes. Second door on the left, Jack. No, Darryl, really, it's really not the money. I just feel, well, the part isn't me, and besides, I'm so busy right now, I just won't have the time. But, Darryl, listen, I'll return the script, and thank you very much. Right, bye. Well, Jack, I'm sorry about that. Now, what were you saying?
Well, this is such a busy day for you. Maybe I ought to come back another time.
No, Jack, you're not here that often. Now, what is it, Jack? Tell me.
Well, you see, Greg, in a few weeks, I'm going to do a television.
Oh, Jack, there it goes again. Excuse me. Now, don't go away.
No.
Don't go. Hello. Oh, yes. Hello, George. Aha. Yes, I received the rendering and the plans for the new wing for the motion picture country house, and it's just perfect. Perfect. But I think that the cost is a little bit out of line. But, George, with financing the way it is today, it'll cost us a fortune. We have to figure it'll cost at least, $20 a square foot, and that'll amount to a lot of money. Now, what I suggest is that we shop around and get another estimate. Okay, George. Yes, I think that's a very good idea. When you get the information, I suggest we have another meeting of the board, and I'll be available anytime you want. Right. Thanks, George. And my best to Ruth. Bye. Oh, sorry, Jack.
Greg, who did that painting there?
Oh, that one's by Van Gogh.
Oh, Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Did Van do this one, too?
No, Jack, that one's by Mike Angelo.
Oh, Michelangelo.
Yeah.
I thought he only did ceilings.
Pardon me, Mr. Peck, but Williams would like to talk to you.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Sir, I can't seem to find the car keys for Andrew.
Oh, you want the car keys? Well, let's see.
I found him, Mr. Peck.
Oh, good, good.
I feel like I'm in the Valley of the Giants. Now I know how the world looks to Mickey Rooney.
Drive carefully now.
What kind of a car do you drive?
A Volkswagen. Now, Jack.
Volkswagen.
Where were we, Jack? Sit down.
Well, Greg, as I was saying, I'm doing a television show, you see, and I...
Oh, Jack. You don't mind?
Why should I mind?
Hello? Oh. Well, no, it's all right if you have all the facts. Go right ahead. I see. Yes, that's with Faraday in the deal. Yes, and without him? Yes, I see. Yes, I understand. Yes. And what about the foreign distribution? Yes, of course. Yes, I follow that. Now, exactly what is each person's function? I see. Yes. Well, all right, Lou. I'll tell you what. I'll talk to my accountant about it, and I'll get back to you. All right. Bye, Lou. There we are.
Thanks.
Well,
Thanks.
terribly sorry. Oh, Hilda, would you hold all the phone calls until I notify you, please?
Yes, Hilda, hold the phone. Now, look, Greg, there's no sense of our beating around the bush. You see, the reason I'm here is because, gee, I don't even know how to start this. Really, I want to ask you if you would appear as a guest on my television show.
Oh, well, Jack, I'd be delighted to be on your show.
Well, why not? Give me one good reason.
Jack.
The rehearsal is a sin.
Jack.
It's better than pictures.
Jack.
And it's easier work.
I said I would do it. I said I'd be delighted to be on your show, Jack.
Gee. Well, Greg, gee, that's nice. But there's just one problem. You know, Greg, I know that you demand a lot of money, you see, and I have such expenses on my show between the scenery and the people and everybody that I don't think I can afford.
No, Jack. Listen, Jack, forget all about the money. I'll do your show for nothing. Jack,
What'd you say?
I said I'll do your show for nothing. Williams, will you get Mr. Benny a drink?
No, thanks. No, it's just that I haven't had dinner yet. In fact, I didn't even get my milk yet. But Greg, anyway, gee, thanks so much, not only being on my show, but to come on for nothing. I don't know what to say.
Oh, Jack, I'm
Thanks, Greg.
delighted.
Thanks. Thanks very, very much.
Quite all right.
Thanks, Greg.
I look forward to it. Right. All right.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks. Thanks very much,
Oh,
Greg.
it's quite all right.
Geez, I could cry. One more. Thanks.
Right.
Marvelous that you would do this.
Just a minute. You forgot your ball and jacks.
Greg, you're coming on my show for nothing. Keep them. They're yours. Here I am, Rochester. Well, Rochester, congratulate me. Gregory Peck said he'd be on my show.
Oh, good. I'll bet you're going to pay him a lot of money.
You're wrong. He's going to do the show for nothing.
How did you do that?
Because I'm a very good salesman. I didn't come right out and ask him. I was very subtle.
What did you do? Did you cut your wrist?
Does this look like I cut my wrists?
I don't mean anything. You don't bleed for 2 hours.
Oh, stop it. Hey, Rochester, you're going too fast.
I'm only doing 35 miles an hour.
Well, you didn't drive that fast in the Maxwell.
The Maxwell wouldn't go that fast on a windy day with a sail up.
Rochester.
During a hurricane.
All right.
Being towed by a missile.
Rochester, that's enough. Hey, we're almost home. And thanks for driving me over to Mr. Peck's house.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Yes, sir. By the way, Rochester, I must say you have a beautiful car.
In the next 60 seconds, you're going to see a most distinctive Christmas gift. The Kodak Instamatic 814 camera. It loads instantly. It's the most automatic camera Kodak has ever made. Wind it up, and you store up power for as many as 20 shots automatically. It sets itself for the right exposure and tells you automatically when your picture will be sharp. It even tells you when it's time to pop on a flash cue. Tells you the flash is ready. Lets you take 4 flash pictures without changing bulbs. It's our most automatic. You create the pictures. The Kodak Instamatic 814 camera does the rest automatically. A very distinctive Christmas gift.
Ladies and gentlemen, since we are emphasizing the new look tonight, we have one of the most exciting musical groups in our business today. I told you 10 times I'm sending you the check next week. Now get out. Go. I'll send you the check. He drives me nuts. You know, on my last television show, I had a group of penguins, and this one is their agent. Now, as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is a group of boys who are really with it today. If you don't believe it, just ask your kids. Here they are, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap.
Someone's waiting just for you.
Spinning wheel, it's spinning true.
Drop all your troubles on the riverside. Get your painted pony on the spinning wheel ride. What goes up must come down. Spinning wheel, got to go round. Talking about your troubles, it's a crying sin. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel spin. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel spin. On the spinning wheel ride. On the spinning wheel ride. On the spinning wheel ride. That spinning wheel ride. On the spinning wheel ride. On the spinning wheel ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been given the privilege and pleasure of introducing the feature spot of the Jack Benny Show.
Now, you've heard of the unusual names of some of the contemporary groups today.
Like Creedence Clearwater Revival,
Yeah.
Blind Faith, Sly and the Family Stone.
The Union Gap.
Who? But now you're going to see a trio that's really out of sight. They must, in a very short time, be #1 on the top 40 charts, right?
Gotta be.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 bushels and a peck.
Honey, my heart will pine for you when the toilet day is through. Every little star blinking from afar will be shining just for you, my little honey. Each breeze will sigh for you, birds be singing for you too.
I'll hum an old tune every morning, night and noon. Oh, honey, I will long for you.
Shadow of your smile when you are gone will color all my dreams and light the dawn. Look into my eyes, my love, and see all the lovely things you are to me. To me. A wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kissed your lips, and so did I. Remember spring, all the joy that love can bring. I will be remembering the shadow of your.
Just what is wrong with the girl of today is a problem this world has to face. They blame it on this and they blame it on that, but they don't seem to get any place. It isn't the lipstick, the cocktails, the jazz that causes the girlie to fall. It's the mother who says if you're not home at 10, then you don't have to come home at all. There's many a girl at Whiskey A Go-Go tonight who would have and could have been good. And each one of them is a living mistake of a parent who misunderstood. So make a pal of your daughter. Make a pal of your daughter. Tell her what's what. And don't hide that book on the shelf. For it's the girls who are wise to the ways of the world who make it tough on guys like myself.
Now we remember spring, all the joy that love can bring. We will be remembering the shadow of your smile.
kids say the darndest things, but they've got the right idea. I'm Art Linkletter, and we asked some experts, what would you like to give your mommy for Christmas?
The camera.
What kind of camera?
Kodak.
Why?
Because it's Kodak and it's a good camera.
Now, who would you take pictures of?
A girl in a bikini.
Why do people take pictures?
You take a picture of somebody when they're a little kid, right? And then when they grow up, you look at yourself and you know what you look like when you're a big kid.
Kodak Instamatic cameras are priced from less than $10, and they're a great gift. Jeff, if you got one, what's the first thing you do?
Take a picture of my other presents.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know that dance that we just did with Gregory Peck? Well, that was a short step for him, but a giant leap for me. Well, this is almost the end of our show. And I certainly want to thank my guests, Gregory Peck, George Burns, Nancy Sinatra, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap, Rochester, Frank Nelson, Floyd the Penguin, and everybody who has been... Lucy, what are you doing here?
How dare you do a special without me?
This is the first time she hasn't been on my show. I didn't know she needed the $300. Before I close, I would like to say that I've had so many requests to sometime on television play one number that I do when I give my concerts. So why should you be cheated? Now, of all the numbers I play, I believe the most popular one is Zigeunerbeißen by Sarasate, also known as Gypsy Airs. If you please, Professor. Wait a minute, hold the credits. Wait, I'm not through yet. Hold the credits. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh, you're beautiful when you're mad. I want to get this on film.
Jack Benny's New Look has been brought to you by Kodak, for your Kodak dealer whose Kodak gifts for Christmas will save precious memories year after year. They're the gifts that give happily ever after. Kodak.
Now, please, hold those credits till I'm finished. Let's take it again.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I have a full panel here today. I'm so excited to see our full panel here. Let's go on to our special. Let's start with John. John, what were your thoughts on this, or what stood out for you?
I loved this. It was great. I had never seen it before. I've got the set with all the specials, and I watched some from the beginning, and then I think I watched some ones that looked interesting. I may have originally fallen asleep, started it at midnight and gotten not very far, but I thought it was great. I loved the concept. It's so funny to see Jack Benny and his struggling with relevance in the late 60s, and I think he pulls it off really well to still maintain the things that were funny about him and his skills, but then also, tap into this sort of novelty of the time. The opening film segment in particular with the wig, I thought was hilarious. I loved that. That was my favorite part. But I liked the whole thing. I liked the band, the Union Gap, Nancy Sinatra. I'm not a big, there's some people who are better classic film fans, historians than me. So I don't know Gregory Peck that well. But I thought that, his celebrity is, and his presence is something that I knew about, and you can definitely see come through in it. So I thought it was
his height too. They seem to make a lot out of his height. This.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
The people that work
because
for
he
him.
doesn't have much of a personality. He's kind of wooden, but he's tall.
He's tall. That's right.
Yeah. But I mean, in the whole thing with Gregory Peck and the telephone, I thought Jack Benny was very entertaining. Yeah, I thought it was fun. We could get into more of the details, but we'll let everybody else say that.
Yeah. The one thing you were mentioning the music, I think to me, this is like the most musical episode that I think I've seen of the specials. I think each act had like 2 songs each, I think, and so it seemed like a lot. Anyway, let's go over, since Terry's here, let's get Terry's thoughts on this.
Well, unlike some of our younger participants, I was actually of age in 1969 to remember not this episode, because I don't remember seeing it before, but other programs that did this kind of thing. Older actors mocking the youth culture. And at the time, like a lot of people my age, I thought, what are these old people talking about? They're making fun of our hair, of our clothes, our music, nudity in theater and so forth. But here I am now, older than Jack Benny was by a little bit when he was doing this. And of course it's funny. And more than funny, I thought it was, particularly for Gregory Peck, I thought it was courageous to listen to Gregory Peck and watch him doing a song and dance. And it doesn't take any musical genius to figure out that he would never have survived as a or a dancer, but he had the courage to pull this off and to do comedy. He was not funny. He had no timing at all. But he was a great actor, and so he played someone who was funny. He played someone who was a song and dance man. He wasn't any of those things, but I thought it was very brave of him to do it, and it was very funny.
And that's a unique way to put it. I like that that he acted. He played as that character of a funny person and a dancing person. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So, Hope, what are your thoughts on this one?
I just really love this one. I really like the opening sequence, like John said. But I don't feel like it was necessarily making fun of youth culture as much as it was like with Jack trying to keep up with youth culture. Especially with the hair, it's like him trying to just seem young and with it is just humorous in itself. But it's I mean I've seen this one before, and I still love it though. I still, of course, I'm a huge Gregory Peck fan, I would say. I probably watched Gregory Peck and Cary Grant more before I was ever introduced really to more of the classic movies. Those were the kind of movies with Gregory Peck and Cary Grant that I would watch with my mom, and then later on I would explore more of the classic movies and such. So I really enjoyed seeing Gregory Peck in this role. I agree he's not very musically inclined. And maybe it's just me, but I don't mind music in shows, but I find it very hard to watch a lot of music from older shows because it's not relevant anymore. The music is like it's out of style after so many years, and so I don't really like having such a musically heavy program. And that goes even for like the Benny shows. Like, as much as I love to hear Dennis Day sing, sometimes I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because that's the way I feel when I watch a show with modern music. Even like the talk shows, I'm like, oh, musical, guess. But then when I watch one of these shows, I'm like, yeah, now we're talking.
It really depends if that
You're so with it.
it really depends if that music is your thing. Like Nancy Sinatra singing is, I love it. Like, she could have done the whole show for all I care, but everybody else, I was like, I don't care.
Yep.
Hope some of us felt that way in 1969 about Nancy Sinatra. Oh no, not those boots. Those boots are made for walking. They're bleeding.
And that's just what they do. One of these days, these boots are going to walk all over
you.
Well, and Gary Puckett and the Union Gap were huge. They had a lot of success, but they were not very good. They were, I mean, yes, they were good enough to sell millions of records. Obviously, some people thought they were great, but in context, come on.
Well, what they are is they're not radical. They're not singing "Oh Ohio." They are not singing protest songs. So among the younger generation, I think these two were acceptable, middle of the road to older viewers. It's not like they had the 13th floor elevators or the Rolling Stones on the show. So
yeah, the act that was probably pushing the envelope the most is probably when they had the Beach Boys on. But other than that, they always kind of grabbed these kind of bands that were around, but they weren't as that huge.
But we must say, for connecting all our favorite things, this is probably the only Beatles song that was sung on a Jack Benny show to sing for Nancy singing Here, There, and Everywhere. I was quite pleased about. So, and they did quite a passable version of a Spinning Wheel. So,
yeah,
for 1969 music that's not coming straight from Woodstock or the Harlem Music Festival, it was okay.
And of course, Kathy, in fairness, the Beatles were also a cover band if you talk to Motown fans.
Yes. Exactly. So,
well, you just gave me a great visual. I was just thinking, what if Jack Benny had like Jimi Hendrix come on one of his specials and light his guitar on fire?
I think Jack Benny would have gone with it, but I don't think he would have kept maybe some of his older audience.
There you go. He could have tossed his wig into the fire. You know,
afro.
Light his violin on fire would have been great. Or play it with his teeth. That would have been good too.
Behind his neck.
Also done that joke where he starts a joke and then it gets interrupted, and then he's like, no, that's the joke when he finishes it.
Yep. No, I always love that when he does that bit. I wanted to mention one thing about what Hope mentioned, that Gregory Peck was one of her favorite actors and things. I mean, Gregory Peck is probably most known. I mean, he's one of these guys you can't really say what he's most known for. One of his big things is, of course, To Kill a Mockingbird. And he did such a brilliant job in that movie. I love that movie. And I was just going to plug the fact that To Kill a Mockingbird is touring the country still with Richard Thomas in the lead role, who's John Boy, of course, from the Waltons. And I've seen it, and he really does a nice job. It feels like not so much but grabbing the book and doing the book, it feels more like doing a stage play of the film is what it kind of feels like more than anything else. And like he's sort of channeling a little bit of Gregory Peck, but he's sort of mixing Gregory Peck with John Boy together, and it makes for a really fun, interesting thing.
That's very.
Yeah,
Oh, please.
I've
go
never
ahead.
seen To Kill a Mockingbird. I know that that's Gregory Peck's most famous.
Oh, you
movie.
should.
The only movie I've seen with Gregory Peck all the way through was The Snows of Kilimanjaro. And the thing with that movie is nothing happens in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree. He had a couple like that, but I mean, he was in How to Steal a Million. He was in Roman Holiday,
with Audrey Hepburn,
which was Audrey Hepburn's debut that won her an Oscar, I believe. Yeah, and it's so I would say that is arguably not his most famous. I would say Roman Holiday would probably be. When I went to Rome, there were pictures of that movie too, and it was like
that's very sweet.
Yeah.
I root for 12 O'Clock High, which is actually the greatest management movie ever made, about how Gregory Peck comes in and remakes an Air Force battalion, an Air Force group that's supposed to be bombing Germany during World War II, and they've lost all sense of competence, and he rebuilds them, and so it's very psycho.
And for lawyers, 12 Angry Men.
Oh, I have seen 12 Angry Men, but maybe I just didn't know who Gregory Peck was.
So. Oh, and I just want to tell everybody, I hope we're enjoying our last week with Hope Sears. It just happens to coincide with her disagreeing with me for the first time. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
Wait, where did I disagree with you?
Well,
you said that it wasn't his top film. Wasn't this film? You said it was Roman Holiday. So
I mean, it's one of his top films.
one of his many top films. Well, I can say that this article that we can post a link to, or post a copy of it from the whole page in the weekend Fort Lauderdale, Florida newspaper about the special and about Jack Benny, and it claims that what you should know Gregory Peck for is To Kill a Mockingbird, and the fact that he was then currently the president of the Academy, so hence the gravitas.
Yeah.
Well, and it probably says To Kill a Mockingbird, because To Kill a Mockingbird is 62, I think, is when it came out. So.
But this is 69, so 7 years later.
Right.
It's still...
no votes for Moby Dick?
No, I would agree with Moby Dick's a very good choice. The one that I remember most for, because it was in like my formative years or whatever, was Boys from Brazil. He was in that, and that was a terrifying that they cloned Hitler a bunch of times and things, and he was trying to solve the mystery of that and so forth. But I'd have to say, in hindsight, it wasn't a great film, but as a kid, I was totally enraptured by it when we saw it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. But
wait, I have to correct myself. He was not in How to Steal a Million. That was Peter O'Toole.
Oh, they're so similar. People get them mixed up all the time. So,
Hope, did I mishear you? Did you say he was in 12 Angry Men?
I thought
Henry Fonda.
No.
Henry Fonda.
That's right.
No wonder I didn't recognize him.
But he had the gravitas.
That's all.
He was great in The Searchers. I really enjoyed him in that. He was fantastic. One of the great westerns of all time. And there's that. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting.
He was very strange. Horn Blows at Midnight was not his greatest film, but
I just think he's in everything. That's all.
Well, he was in an episode of Barney Miller, but it was just his voice. And it was actually Stephen Landesberg doing Gregory Peck.
Well, and early on, like I remember watching a Burns and Allen episode where they're watching Gregory Peck, and the women are so in love with Gregory Peck. They're like, oh, well, let's have him over to the house. And
I thought it was so funny watching George Burns in this episode, the way that he's sort of like interacting with the crowd, and to see, I loved watching all the different members of the crowd's faces. Like some people were just like confused, but one guy, the guy right behind him, is just having the time of his life. I just loved it. It was so fun.
I
And
love
it's
that
been
too, and I
interesting-
love seeing you normally in these specials never get to see the crowd, so it was kind of cool
Yeah.
to see
Yeah,
the,
that
the
was.
crowd there.
It made me wonder if Barbara Thinnell was actually out there, since she managed to get tickets to all Jack's specials. So
his crowd work, like trying to get them to sing the song. It's hard to know whether he expected it to go well or if he just like abandoned
Yeah.
ship. But
Yeah,
it
I was
didn't-
like,
didn't quite take
I
off.
don't know whether you're expecting this to go well or like.
Well, usually these things are planned out so well that I would assume that
Yeah.
was planned out to go that way. But if it was planned to go that way, he did a great job to make it seem like it was just out of his
Yeah.
control and
Yeah.
it wasn't going the way he wanted to or whatever. But I want to go over to Terry because Terry's my specialist on this sort of thing. Do you think this was an actual crowd, or do you think it was a bunch of extras that they
I
had
think
there?
it was an actual crowd, and the clue for me was the woman, as you look at the screen to the left of George Burns, because at one point he says something about crying, and she reaches into her purse to get a tissue or a handkerchief.
Right, yeah.
And they didn't show her doing it, but she was going to do it, and she actually might have done it. Maybe they edited it out. I don't know, but I don't think that this was a setup. I think this was. I mean, look, George Burns had been doing this forever. He actually did this same bit on one of his record albums, so he knew what he was doing.
wow.
Yeah,
and it worked.
That's great.
So I think it was the real thing.
Okay, cool.
That's
Did
great.
the song work on his record with like getting the audience to sing that part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except
that's-
that in that record it was not the audience, it was a group of singers.
Ah,
okay.
But still, I mean, that he got them to. He did a long string of songs based on that combination of notes, and it was really funny and very clever.
But I bet it took more time for him to get it going, right? Probably on the record. So there he's
Yeah.
trying to do it fast, and the
Right.
problem is it probably is not going to work if you do it fast because the audience can't follow along with what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't seem actually that musically inclined, which is kind of hilarious
Rel-
for
relative-
a crowd that is watching a very musically heavy-
relatives of Gregory Peck, perhaps.
yeah, exactly. They're all there for
Possible.
Gregory Peck, which was probably not too far from the truth.
Well, I'd like to mention that every one of Jack's specials usually has some connection to the past, as in one of his longtime cast members.
Right.
And while this didn't have a large speaking role, it had a delightful cameo by Eddie Anderson, driving this beautiful, the front of a Rolls Royce. It was beautifully done. And I would have liked to remember that because it makes a great bookend with the other special when he comes out and they talk about the differences between the show long ago and, no, I'm not going to be your butler now.
Yeah.
Now we're
We
going to
don't
be
do that
friends and go
anymore,
out
yeah.
for a hamburger. So it was a lovely little thing of pointing out that this was Rochester's car and he's just giving Jack a ride. So
Well, and I had forgotten how many specials that Eddie was in because I think he's been in now 3 of them we've shown, and heavily featured in one that we had. So, and then like the cameo in this, it was, I was charmed with it. That was great.
It's
I love
also
seeing it.
interesting that he's credited as Eddie Rochester Anderson, where at times he was only credited as Rochester.
Right. No,
There was
100%.
one other cameo, of course, one of the commercials.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
oh, of course, yeah. We've got a twofer between this special and the other thing we'll be talking about.
Oh yeah.
Frank Nelson.
Frank Nelson. It was big Frank Nelson day for us. So yeah, I love seeing Frank Nelson. I truly do. He's always funny, always on with what he's doing. It's great. So
Sort of overall, I think that Jack really has a kindly, sort of somewhat sympathetic attitude toward the younger generation. Here, if I was imagining Bob Hope in the same thing, it would be, those awful kids. It is December 1969, as so if one wanted their older audience to be disdainful of the younger generation, that'd have been easy enough to do. So I like the fact that he's showing that things are very different today, but it's not condemnation such as bemused attitude
well,
to
I
it.
think it's so interesting hearing that, your take, because I agree with it, and Hope's take, and then hearing Terry's take, who was in the youth generation at the time, I can totally see how Jack, what I'll give Jack credit for is he makes more fun of himself trying to fit in than he does of the youth generation. Certainly when I see reruns of Johnny Carson's Tonight Show, and he's talking about the youth generation or the music of the time, he's very just derogatory of it and dismissive of it and things. I see as if I was 18, 17, 16 at the time, right? I could see how it would all kind of blend together, and I'd be like, oh, here's another person making fun of our generation who just doesn't get it, right? So I could see how a person wouldn't see the nuance of this, of that age group. But I do think there's some nuance, and I do think that Jack presents it that way. Because I really think the kids at the time were totally like, I'm just trying to be me. I'm just trying to express where I'm at, what I'm thinking, and I have to express that through my look, through everything that I do. And certainly it's very evocative of the students now that I work with and things, because they are very much, though society is saying they don't like them to have their, like we were saying earlier, hope colored hair, and they don't like to some of the things that they're doing, but they just are saying, hey, I'm just trying to find my way through this crazy society we live in and express myself. And maybe I express myself a little more than the older generation does, but I shouldn't be penalized for that or anything. And what does the older generation do? I just had a conversation this week with someone who was just saying, oh, we should go to school uniforms and things, so we don't want students expressing themselves and things. And I mean, I can see that point of view to some extent, but it's I also think kids should be able to express themselves, whether it's 1968 or whether it's 2023. So
they'll find other ways to express themselves.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to mention that one group that disagreed was the grumpy old reviewer at Variety, who wrote about this show that the first 40 minutes were a waste of time. The only thing this reviewer liked was the Goldie Fields and Glide, or that's so he just fell all over himself by how wonderful that, and he was angry that it wasn't built up to more, that it, and so the reviewer was very weary of the whole first 40 minutes of the film and just wanted to see the vaudeville routine. So
right.
Wow, I can't imagine.
We should also give Jack Benny and George Burns credit for having done this kind of act once before. 2 years prior to this broadcast, the two of them were on the Smothers Brothers show, essentially doing the same thing, dressed in, mod clothes and pretending to be of the younger generation and mocking themselves.
And I wish we had that Smothers Brothers show, but I can't seem to find it. So, yeah,
I've got it on DVD. I'll lend you my copy, I guess.
Okay.
It's been great to on this channel watch them in order, because there's things that you wouldn't get otherwise. Like the last special had Lucille Ball and, most importantly, the Penguins.
Yes.
And in this episode, you've got this penguin bit, which it seems really strange out of context. If you haven't seen the last special, then it makes no sense at all. I mean, the one in the last special doesn't make that much sense, but this one makes no sense at all if you haven't seen that one.
True enough. I do like show them in order. And then the other thing I love is that we're putting in guest appearances and things that happened at the time between the specials, like in the case of us playing the pilot for Love American Style and having Eddie Rochester Anderson on that. What I think is interesting is it shows that people are interested in that, because that particular episode, when we dropped it, it was like one of the most popular ones we've done. I mean, it's gotten all kinds of views very quickly. It doesn't even have Jack in it, so I think that's great. So, and it's neat to I think part of it is I put on that it was the pilot of the Love American Style. I'm sure that catches some people going, oh, let's watch that first episode.
Yes.
And Kathy, I wanted to say thank you for that newspaper article. I read it, and it was very interesting to get Jack's take on how he sees himself in this culture. And I think it's very telling that he's saying, like, at my age, you know, very easy to become passe. And that's the pull quote that they have for him as well. That, you know, like that he's realizing, you know, you gotta keep with the new material, which is kind of funny because he pairs so much of his old material with it. So it's a very interesting kind of take that you don't, an insight that you don't normally, you don't really get to see, I feel like.
Yeah, we'll look for this. As I said, we'll somehow link.
Yep.
We'll put a JPEG.
We'll
of
figure
it.
out how to link to it.
Yeah.
And then Kathy,
That's a great point.
could you maybe just read us a few lines of that especially this Jack
sure.
Yeah.
He says this is a lovely article called "Hello Folks, This is Jack Benny," and it was originally written by a woman named Norma Lee Browning for the Chicago Tribune. So he's very much talking to a Chicago writer about his past, but he says, as we get older in show business, we have to work harder to sustain interest, to keep the people coming back to see us. We have to compete with these young people who are real hot, like Tom Jones. I've been in this business long enough to know that some people get so accustomed to you, they think if they see us, all right, but if not, they'll see us next time around. At my age, which she mentions is 76, at my age, you could become passe pretty fast if you didn't keep up with the times and work constantly to come up with new material. Since he brought up the subject himself, I asked, you mean after all these years, you're not really 39? He says, I will be 76 in February. He replied promptly and proudly. At least that's one thing that can be said about Jack Benny that hasn't been said often anyway. So, and one more quote and I'll let it go. And in January, I will have been married to the same woman 43 years. I think that's maybe some kind of record in this business. And I'm crazy about Mary. I think more than I ever have been. And you don't read about the people who stay married like the Pat O'Briens and Joey Bishops. They've been married a long time. You only read about the little hit and miss starlets. So how nice that he brings in Mary.
Yeah, very nice. Love that. Well, with that, anything else we want to cover with this? Anything else that anyone wants to mention?
I want to make one historical note, but John, you go first.
Well, I was, and this may be the same. I was just going to mention some of the references that people might not get today. Tom Jones, that you mentioned in the article, of course, was like a singer, Tom Jones. And then there's also Engelbert Humperdinck.
And Jack did a guest appearance on his show that we have to talk about sometime. So,
and Tony Bennett is more of a crooner type. Oh, I'm blurry, but that's okay. And Mickey Rooney, of course, is the child actor who at this point would be an adult actor, although he was quite short. And then the one that I didn't know, and Terry, maybe you can help me out with, was Rod Steiger.
Mm-hmm. Actor, yeah.
I have no idea who that is.
Great Academy Award winning actor, On the Waterfront, Heat of the Night.
My assumption would be, and I don't know this, but my assumption would be he maybe died early or something, because I don't remember him, or retired or something, because I don't remember him doing films in like the 70s and 80s and things like that you get.
Maybe not the 80s, but I think in the 70s he might have still been working.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah. And some actors that were great as lead roles in films start becoming background characters and start doing more character work. And those ones we might notice them but don't realize that it's that person too. So because that's pretty amazing when they pull that off. And anyway, I'm trying to think of what else. There was something else I was going to mention with this, but I don't remember. It's okay.
Terry, you had a final thought?
Yeah.
Well, just one more reference that people might not know, which is the fertilizer brand called Bandini.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
it's a fertilizer brand. It'll help you to know that when you watch the show, that it's a brand of fertilizer. And then at the very end, Jack has a line which was particularly relevant when the show was broadcast, because this was December of 1969. It was, I don't know when it was recorded. It was at least in November, because that's when that article that Kathy was reading from was published. but probably not much before that. But anyway, it had to be after July, because in July of 1969, there was an important global event, man landing on the moon, for those who believe that kind of thing. And at the very end, Jack has a line that refers back to a statement that Neil Armstrong makes when he lands on the moon, which was, that's one small step for a man, although it sounded like one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And so if you didn't know that, you won't get the reference at the very end of the show that Jack makes.
Very good.
That's all.
And I will step on John and Terry's territory and just throw in a reference that's in here too. It shows Kodak cameras and things, which is good. They had something called film that you would put into the camera.
Yes.
And and they were known for, the film used to be that you would have to like stretch it out and put it on the little spindle, and it was, a pain
so
loading.
great to
the
have
cameras.
those little cartridges.
Yeah, and then they just had it where you drop this cartridge of film in that was already on the two spindles, and you would just drop it in and it would do it for you. And that didn't surprise me. The one thing that did surprise me in this episode was the video camera, or whatever you want to call it,
like a Super 8
film camera.
Film camera, where you drop the film in the same way that I'd never seen before. I didn't
I had one of those.
realize you could. So you would drop this film in, like in this little plastic container. You drop it in and close it, and film your movie, right? And then you'd send it in to get it processed, and it would come back as 8mm or Super 8mm or something.
Yeah, that's why you need the projector.
Yeah. Anyway, with all of that, enjoy this great episode with Jack. And this is our final presentation of these Jack Benny specials for this season. We'll be back next summer. I thought, okay, this kind of is a nice encapsulation. We cover the whole 1960s this summer, and next summer will be the 1970s, basically. So I think that'll be nice. And we're going to start doing next week, we'll start having the 5th season of the Jack Benny Show, which is where we left off last spring. And so that'll be fun. So we'll see you next week for some more Jack Benny. And thanks everybody for being here. Have a good day, everybody. We have Hope Sears. Hey, Hope. And she's like gone more blonde, I think, than usual. It looks really good.
It's a new look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I dyed my hair pink, so the pink quickly came out, and I'm left with the white. I feel like I look like Andy Warhol.
Oh no, that's
I was going to say Marilyn Monroe, but there you go.
There you go. I was going to go for Jean Harlow for you, or maybe Doris Day. It's a beautiful color.
I'll go for Doris Day. I used to look like with the pink hair, like Shirley MacLaine in that movie where she's married to a bunch of people.
The movie where she has pink hair. Yeah,
yes,
I remember that. And then we have John, who refuses to dye his beard or anything and never changes color. I would like to see you with a blonde beard
hair.
or something. Oh, yeah. So, John, anything special going on your podcast lately with the whole beginning of the year starting out and everything? Well, beginning of our fall season, I guess I would say.
Well, I love October time because you get back into the regular episodes and you're like, oh yeah, the Jack Benny Show. These are great.
Yeah.
So I've just been enjoying, playing the old episode. I've been playing some really old ones with Kenny Baker, and those are always fun. So yeah.
Of course, those are great. And let's go over to Terry. Terry, what's happening in your neck of the woods now?
Well, this is my new look from 1969. I
good look.
Went through my closet and I found this, and I was shocked that it still fit. And here I am in the city of love during the summer of love, or one of the summers.
And Kathy, go ahead.
I was just going to say we're taking a deep breather after the premiere month-long run of the Reagan play. Yeah. But we'll be back with more.
Well, and we were talking before we went on air, and Terry says that probably it's going to be available at some point for people to watch that can't get to it because you're in a different part of the country or whatever, because I'd love to see it. And so that'll be something to look forward to at some point. Are we thinking a couple of years down the road, or are we thinking probably?
I hope it won't take that long. You know, we're entering the presidential primary season. So one of the things we're thinking about doing is following the various primary election states and picking one or two cities in every one of those states. The problem we're going to run into is in the early part of March with Super Tuesday, and I don't think we can do that many in one day. But yes, we'll probably within the next year or two, I hope we'll have this available for streaming.
Fabulous.
I have a question and an idea. Have you
Great.
considered following Reagan's presidential pathway when he was touring?
Really great idea, Hope. I know, had not thought of that. That's a terrific idea.
Yeah, that would be really cool, but a little late to plan it out probably now.
Probably.
But you know, 4 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. That's something to keep in mind. That's a really good idea.
That's a really good idea. Thank you.
Worth sharing. See, it was worth Terry coming just for that.
Yeah.
That's great. The other thing, Terry, is now who's the actor that plays Reagan?
His name is Paul Messenger. He's both the actor and the director. He was originally just going to direct, but he, as he likes to say, he became, when we were looking for a new actor, and he was helping us find the new actor, he became the Dick Cheney of casting. He found the perfect actor, and it was him. and Paul Messenger is really fantastic as Reagan.
Oh yeah, the clip I saw, he seemed great. I'm thinking, why don't you just have him run for office and have him run as president and run as Reagan? Everybody says we need Reagan again, and there we have him. So there you go.
I will send him a note today.
Please do. Kathy, and Kathy, are you almost ready to release the volume 3 or close to it?
Well, yes, the semester has gotten in the way. I'm on a bazillion committees, and so but we're getting past the work. I was gonna just comment on Terry's lovely background that in my 60s class, we'll be talking this next week about the Summer of Love, summer of 1967. And for all readers out there, there's a fabulous documentary made in 67 on YouTube called Revolution. And it features the Ace of Cups, the only all-female rock band that played in the park there during the Summer of Love. And it follows a young girl who named Louise, who took the hippie name Today. Wow. And so when I teach about the film, I say my hippie name is Yesterday. Because I'm a historian, and then Paul McCartney will long for me.
That's great. All right, well, folks, we are here to talk about, as Terry kind of hinted at, Jack Benny's new look, which is a 1969 special that he had, and one that we'd forgotten to present at the time. It's coming out, like we're recording it, and I'm going to put it out tomorrow. So I have my Seahawk shirt on somewhere. So go Seahawks. And they're 3-1, so I'm happy with where they're doing right now. And of course, I love Russell Wilson, but it was probably the time to trade him. I think we got a decent amount out of that trade, and he's doing so well over there again. I think they're 1-4. So anyway, we shall move on. But
and this is a sport.
Yes, that's a sport. That would be football. Yeah. So, did you have something? It looked like you were
no,
just
something. Like when people talk about football now, I can be like, see, people get annoyed about everyone talking about Taylor Swift, but like showing too much. I don't know much about like sports in general, so like when people talk about sports, I just sit there, and now I can be like Taylor Swift and everybody gets mad. But
yeah. Well, exactly. I'm not a huge Swiftie, but I happened to catch her in like 3 or 4 games this year, so I'm like, okay, I've seen a lot of Taylor Swift myself. Well, no, I had see, I'm a little off as usual. My parents in 1950 something got a camera that a a film
movie
camera. Movie camera. There, thank you. And it did 8mm film. And so we have films back in the 50s, like before I was born. They got this camera and they used it like a ridiculous amount for a while. And then and like we have one whole reel of like the newest little baby that was like, I don't know, whatever, 4 months old, 3 months old, rolling around on a blanket for like the whole film. I mean, like 15 minutes, whatever the thing is long. You know, they just ran it and just said, I'm filming my child. So that was great. Then they get kind of where, you know, after you get new technology and after a while you go, we don't want to get that out and it's a hassle. And it was one of those where if you're going to film indoors, they had this bar with these huge lights on it that were just incredible. And they still had the bar when I was like playing with it. And you go, this is nuts. You would think somebody would have tried this out because the 4 lights, you would just get like the film would be like white. You would get nothing. It was too much. So you always had to take out 2 of the bulbs and just work with 2 of them. And then it'd be created enough light that it would be okay and it would look pretty good. Anyway, so I'm sure all that hassle became too much for them. And so then I'm born. And when I'm born, there's like nothing. Like no film whatsoever.
No
They
baby
don't
running
touch
later.
they don't touch the film camera for like a decade or something, and then they like find it. Well, not a decade. I guess I was like 8 when I saw it all of a sudden show up. There's Daryl running around playing in the snow or whatever with his sisters, but you get this whole nice piece of all 4 of my siblings because they were older than me by about I was 4 years younger than the youngest one, and then 10 years younger than the oldest one. And so you get them progressively being shown and filmed and everything, and then all of a sudden everything just stops. I'm like, was I adopted or something? I don't know. This is very strange.
Yeah.
But
well,
anyway,
I inherited a Super 8 camera from my grandfather, and I thought I'd love to shoot a short film on this. It takes AA batteries, got those,
Yep.
right?
Wow,
you know, on eBay you can pay the money and get them to ship you some film. And so I looked into all that. The problem is there's no place that will develop the film.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have to like send it to LA and they send it back. And after all that, you know, hundreds of dollars of expense, you never know whether the film even turned out with exposure or anything like that. So, but I was so disappointed. I couldn't quite pull it off.
Well, luckily when I was doing it, this is 78, probably 77, 78, somewhere in there. When I discovered the thing, and we were supposed to, at that point, videotape something to present as a project at school. Well, I dug this thing up and used it. And then I was thinking, I was like, what are we going to do? And I said, we'll do, because $6 Million Man had gone off the air, I think, at this point. So we'll do an episode of $6 Million Man, and we'll do this thing and have my friend, we got the jack out and jacked up the car and had it, use stop motion to show him lifting up the car and things. And then I had this brilliant idea. I take my best friend and I go, if you jump backwards off our roof and land, and if I film it upside down with the camera, and then I clip the film and flip the film, you'll look like you're running forward and jumping up on the roof. And he's like, well, 1, this is insane. 2, you're going to break my leg. But he did it. And so we found, and then I filmed it, and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't have the camera turned upside down. We have to film it again. so then he does it again, and it worked. It was perfect. I mean, he runs up there, he bends down, and he goes and he jumps, and all of a sudden he's on the roof. And so we like won, they had awards that they give out. And so we won like every award, best actor, best film, best director, the whole thing. And I felt really bad for everybody because they had like 5 awards for all, you know, and there was probably 40 different films that were sort of entered in this contest / assignment. And we took every one. And I was just like, oh my gosh. But we were the only one that made any sense. Other people were sort of like filming themselves in a parking lot. I remember somebody had it where they had used like stop motion and would make themselves appear in one spot and another spot and another spot. But there was no story. It was just sort of playing with the cameras. And ours actually flowed and had a story to it. So I think that's why we
You
won.
just didn't get it, man. It was artistic.
It was. Well, and I wish I would have pursued that. I could have been the next Steven Spielberg, but no. Here I am doing podcasts with you wonderful folks, and I do love this. So, and this is going to be great because it means the stop button is also somewhere completely different. There it is.